Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week, so I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Benu, Briolette, and this is the snow season. We have a Mythic Pens, the Aeschylus, a Benu hexagon-b, an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Vulcan's Forge, an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Tectonic Seas, a Visconti Daedalus, a Classic Pens LM1 in the Flame Red, a Classic Pens Lb5 in the Calsecchi, a Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence, and then we have the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So this really is a beautiful pen. This is a Benu and it's the Briolette and it's a snow season. And I love this white pen. It's a really beautiful white. When I look at white pens, I prefer this kind of white in a pen and not sort of like a creamy white. So this is almost like a milky white sort of colour. And then it's accented by all of this sort of silver dust that's inside the body there, or on top of the resin, and then under a layer of lacquer. And so this is a glitter. Now this Briolette is, as you can see here, like diamond faceted. So it's actually a really interesting shape. Now these are small, the Briolettes. So in the size of my hand, you can see there that it's not a massive pen. It's not a pocket pen per se. They do come with a number 5 size Schmidt nib, and it's a steel nib. And I do find these sections a little bit on the narrow side, but I tend to hold these up a little bit more on the thread. So I currently have this pen and also this Benu as well on loan from Derek at Stonecrop Fine Writing Supplies. So if you want to check out this pen, it's a cartridge converter, then do go out and check Stonecrop Fine Writing Supplies in the UK. The next pen I have inked up is the Mythic Pens, and this is the Aeschylus. And this is a pen made in the USA by Brad of Mythic Pens, and this really is a beautiful material. It's a Jonathan Brooks material, and it's the Peacock Koi. It's a really stunning material, and you can see here, I've got a review of this pen already on my channel here. And this comes with a number 6 size Yovo nib. This particular one has a broad nib. This is actually on loan to me from Den at Den's Custom Pens. He did an exchange of pens with Brad at Mythic Pens. So I currently have that one inked up as well. And then we have another Benu, and this is the Benu Hexagon in the B. Now, it's kind of strange how Benu actually label their pens, but so the reason why it's called hexagon is because you have these hexagon imprints across the body and the cap. But this is the B model, so the B model is just basically the colour. So you have an A, B, C, D, etc. So this is a blue and sort of purple, or blurple, I guess, sort of blending of the base colour. And then you have this beautiful gold dust here in the pen, and I absolutely love this pen, and I like the texture that these hexagons actually form on the pen. And I also like that you can actually post this pen as well. So this is also on loan from Derek at Stonecrop Fine Writing Supplies. The only thing that I really wish, and I wish this on a lot of Benus, is that they would use a number 6 size nib. They're starting to do that on the Supreme Symphony and some other pens as well, like the Grant Scepters. But I like it, and I hold this pen up more on the threads. It's a really nice writing pen, a beautiful pen to write with a broad nib, and for me it does tick all the boxes, and it's actually a really good price as well. So if you want to look at that one, go check out Stonecrop Fine Writing Supplies. I also have this pen inked up, and this is an Atelier Lusso, and it's an Andromeda, and the material is a Vulcan's Forge. Now, this was made by Eric at Atelier Lusso in the US, and this is a material that I asked him to source and then make out of a pen, and he graciously did that. So you can see there an L on there for Lusso, but this really is a lovely, lovely pen, and you'll see here that it has a Jowo number 6 size nib, and I find again like these sections tend to be on a little bit more on the thinner side to what I prefer, so I tend to hold it up a little bit more when it sort of where it's thicker. You can't post these caps because it is just a cylindrical body, but I like it. I like this a lot, so that I have inked up this week. And then we have another Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and this is a Tectonic Seas, and again another one that I like writing with. Again, a custom material, Tectonic Seas, and this was a material that I found and really liked, and I asked Eric to buy that material and make a pen out of it. So again, this has a number 6 size Jowo nib, and it's a broad nib. Again, I just love it. You can't obviously post the cap on these models, but I don't normally post my caps. I know some of you do, but for me, I just don't do that. So I love how these broad Jowo nibs write. They just write exquisitely well for me. So I have that one inked up as well. I also have this beauty of a pen, and this is the Visconti Daedalus, and I really do love this pen. It's a pen that I was never going to pick up, and I eventually did, and I love it. It's got this lovely sort of silver dust impregnated into the blue resin there, and you have this beautiful overlay, and you have the Minotaur's head as well, and this overlay actually has the maze. It's just a stunning pen. Visconti really do make some beautiful overlays. So this is a Paravac filler. It's a double reservoir as well, and it's got a 23 cat palladium medium nib there, and I just love these. I love how these feel in the hand. I love the weight, and I also love how they write as well. The 23 cat palladium nibs I do like a lot. The next pen I have inked up is my Classic Pens. It's a classic pen actually, but Classic Pens LM1 in the flame red, and this is made of diffusion bonded acrylic, and it's a material and a process that I really love. I wish I could get some more of these pens. There were a couple that I slightly missed the boat on, which I wish I hadn't. This comes with a Bock number 6 size nib, and it's a medium nib, but this is a really nice pen. I love it. I just love this diffusion bonded acrylic, and I still would like to try and get one of these in the flame red in the LB5 model, because that has a Sailor King of pen nib on it, and maybe one day I will pick one up. I will be lucky and somebody will offer me one that they are looking to sell or looking to trade. So, but until that time, I'm gonna like and use my LM1. And here's the Classic Pens LB5, but obviously this isn't in the flame red. This is in what they call the Kauseki, which is metal ore. But again, this diffusion bonded acrylic is really quite nice, and it really, you can really see how they pressurize all of the acrylic together to blend and actually cause these sort of the material to go into this kind of pattern under stress. It's a beautiful pen. It's made by Sailor. All of the Classic Pen LB5s are. So it has a Sailor King of pen nib. It's a medium nib. So it's kind of like a Western fine nib, but I love it. I love writing with this, and it's a pen that I love inking up and writing with. The next pen I am pretty much almost out of ink here, you can see, is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence. And this really is a nice pen. I like it. I love the material. It's a great pen. I love the Visconti Homo Sapien range that Visconti have created. And this comes with a 23 cat palladium medium nib there. And I like how these nibs write. I really do. And for me, like, this is the perfect weight of pen, the perfect size of pen, the perfect diameter of the section, slightly concave there, the hook safe lock, the power vac filler, the double reservoir. It just ticks every single box for me in what I want in a pen. So I have that pen also inked up this week as well, although clearly there's not a lot of ink left in there, so I need to make that decision on whether or not I'm going to refill that pen or whether or not I'm going to flush it out and maybe put it back into storage for a little while and use some other pens. The last pen is this beautiful pen, and this is the Visconti, and you'll see this here, Leonardo da Vinci. It's the Machina, and this is a beautiful pen. I absolutely love it. It's a ivory coloured resin with the acro silk material here, which is seen on the original Medici version of pens. And then on this ivory coloured resin you have all of this scrimshaw that has been done, and you can actually feel the texture on this scrimshaw. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and this feels around the same weight and size as a Visconti Homo Sapiens. It doesn't have the double reservoir, but it does have the power vac filler, does have the hook safe lock mechanism, but it also has the new 18 karat gold Visconti nibs, and this is a medium nib. And I have to say, I do like writing with that, although I will have to premise and say that I now have two of the newer 18 karat gold medium nibs from Visconti, and they both write more like a fine nib to me. They don't write more like a Visconti medium nib, which typically is more like a Western broad. So it's a little bit of a strange kind of feeling if you're looking for a medium nib and then you end up with a fine nib. But I guess that's what a lot of people found when they used to buy Visconti, that they were going for a medium nib and they effectively got a broad nib. But for me, I love this pen, so that pen is also inked up this week as well. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. I think let's go into a writing sample. So, the first pen I have inked up this week is the Benu Briolet Snow Season. So, I think let's do an ink swatch here. And this is a broad nib, and I chose this colour of ink because I thought it matched the pen quite well in terms of the silver glitter. So this is a Benu Briolet Snow Season, and it is a broad and it's a still nib. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, and it's Moonstone, which is the 2020 ink of the year. The next pen is the Mythic Pens, the Aeschylus. So this will do an ink swatch, and this is a broad Iovo nib. So this is the Mythic Pens, and it's called the Aeschylus. and it's a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. The next pen is the Bennu hexagon-b. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now I find that this broad nib is, I'd say, almost like a double broad. It's very broad nib. So this is the Bennu, and it's the hexagon B, and it is a broad steel nib which writes very, very wet. And then the ink in here is Montegrappa Violet, but that is a really beautiful broad writing nib, very smooth. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Vulcan's Forge. So we'll do an ink swatch. So this is an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Vulcan's Forge, and it is a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Sailor Gentle Apricot, which is a beautiful orange ink. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas. So we'll do another ink swatch. And this is an ink that I'm really starting to like a lot. So the pen is an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas, and it's a broad steel nib again. And then the ink in here is Akamon, and it's number 1, and it's Passage Blur. That's a really nice blue ink. The next pen is the Visconti Daedalus. So we'll do another ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib. So this is the Visconti Daedalus, and it's a medium 23 carat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Visconti Blue, which is a great blue ink. The next pen is the classic Pens LM1 in the flame red. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium Bock nib. It's a gold nib. So this is the classic Pens LM1 in the flame red, and it's a medium 18 carat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a brilliant red ink. The next pen is the classic Pens Lb5 in the Kauseki. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And this is a medium nib, but it's an Asian nib, so this does write for me more like a Western fine nib. And you typically see this on Asian nibs. So this is the classic Pens Lb5 Kawasaki in a medium, and it's a 21 cat gold nib because it is a Sailor King of pen nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot, Iroshizuku, and it is Sakushi. The next pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence, and I am running very low on this ink, so I don't know if I'm going to have enough ink to get me through this writing sample. I really do hope I do. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and you can see this is quite a wet nib, so this is why I'm kind of worrying that I might actually have to re-ink this one back up again, because if I do run out of ink, that is. So this is the Visconti. I'm actually going to call it Homo Sapiens there, HS, and this is the Midnight in Florence. Otherwise I'm going to run out of space. This is a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is the lovely KWZ Gummy Berry. Or lovely for me anyway. And I kind of like the vanilla smell of this ink. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I actually do like it. The next pen is and this is the last pen, it's the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So we'll do another ink swatch. Now this does have the new 18 karat gold nibs from Visconti, since they switched away from the 23 karat palladium nibs. And I have two of these nibs now, and they all write, medium nibs that is, they all write like a fine nib. So this is a Visconti, and it's the Leonardo da Vinci Machina. And it is officially a medium 18 cat gold nib. Now, although it writes like a fine nib, I really still like how it writes. The ink in here is Ackerman SBRE Brown. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Benu Briolette Snow Season in a broad steel nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Moonstone. We have a Mythic Pens, the Aeschylus, in a broad steel nib, inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. We have a Benu hexagon-b in a broad steel nib, inked up with Montegrappa Violet. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Vulcan's Forge in a broad steel nib, inked up with Sailor Gentle Apricot. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Tectonic Seas in a broad steel nib, inked up with Ackerman #1 Passage Bleu. We have a Visconti Daedalus in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Visconti Blue. We have a Classic Pens LM1 Flame Red in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kawasaki in a medium 21 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Sakushi. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with KWZ Gummy Berry. And then last but not least, we have the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackerman SBRE Brown. So there you have it, that's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.